All right, everyone. We're back with episode 43 of everyone who's been following had a little hiccup and family issue, so we could not have a show when we originally scheduled it. So we are now having the show, and I have so let's see. I see Josh Eisenberg in. Still waiting to try to get Mark in. Technical difficulties of a live show. If I could only get Mark to just come in, I could invite him myself. But I don't see him. Man, we got drones all over New Jersey. I don't know what in the world's going on. Is it the Chinese, the Iranians? Oh, there's Mark. Here we go. I got him. Tom Daly, it's me, Scott Foraker. We got some big dogs in now. Had a little technical glitch. There we go, Mark. There we go. You had me talking about the drone situation in New Jersey and all over the East Coast. I don't know what our president's doing, but someone's got to do something. Darren Ravel posting on his Instagram page that drones are all over his house. So, I told Darren, got to break out the shotgun and start shooting them down.
They're after Darren's tickets.
Yeah, they're looking for tickets. Right. It's Justin Sutterfield looking for Darren's tickets. Well, Mark, I appreciate you coming on. Mark, you are kind of one of the pretty big foremost names in tickets, and I think we all know you best because of your presence on the Boogers Facebook page. But we're going to do a whole breakdown of Boogers. But before we get there, I think we also know Mark Prilik as the, quote, Dave Winfield ticket guy. Is that fair?
There are very few of us.
Few and far between, so you got to be the only guy.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, Mark, what are you collecting in the way of Dave Winfield tickets? Tell everybody, if there's anyone out there in the ticket world that doesn't know.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks, Howard, for having me on, and thanks for everyone that's joining us tonight. Winfield has been, he was my childhood hero. The short version is diehard, lifelong Yankees fan. So when Thurman Munson died, Dave came around a little more than about a year and a half later, and I followed Dave Winfield ever since. So I focus primarily on his home run tickets. So he hit 465 career home runs, and I am down to 24.
Wow. It's funny. I think I saw you at the National in July, and you were handing out cards that were showing which tickets you needed to complete the run. And if I remember, Mark, you had 25 on that card that you were handing out. So I think since, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, since July, you've picked up
Yes,
one.
sir.
All right. What's it at? Like about one a year or two a year?
It's hit or miss. Last year, it's funny. I was talking with a friend, and I had purchased two within the course of hours. And that was right at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, holy cow, this is a good sign. But wasn't meant to be. Like anyone collecting any player, it's it's a long process. Of course, Winfield playing came up in 1973, so going all the way back to Padres games in '73, they're just some of those attendances were 5,000 or less. So his debut was actually a little more than 5,000, but his first home run was only 2,400, a little over 2,400 in the
Yeah.
stand. So finding those tickets, I've been at it for 15 years. So to get down to 24 is just a testament of all the crazy people like myself collecting tickets. And that's been the great thing with Boogers is the networking and just um, getting my story and all the other folks out there. So we appreciate this time, not only with Howard, but everyone in Boogers.
Yeah. Yes. So hardcore, Mark, 15 years that you've been doing this and you're still 24 away. So pretty crazy. You're also a big Redskins fan. I remember you kind of finding on Boogers. Yeah, there it is. There it is. You finding on Boogers a gentleman that was selling a Jim Brown first touchdown ticket. And I was thinking to myself, why in the world is Mark Prilik chasing this ticket so hard until I found out after the fact why you wanted it? Tell us.
Sonny Jurgensen debut. So
Sonny Jurgensen, long
um,
time, also Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, but Washington Redskins quarterback. And that's also his debut, lines up with Jim Brown's first NFL touchdown.
yeah, and you're please don't beat me up for that. I forgot to add it to the stack. But yeah, it's downstairs. But the big thing with the whole Jim Brown first touchdown, he actually had a receiving touchdown. So and then the Eagles had drafted Sonny Jurgensen out of Duke, and Sonny had his first few years in Philadelphia before he joined the
Yeah.
Redskins. So that's one of my as far as Redskin tickets, that's been the holy grail
Yeah.
for my Redskins. I don't think I'll ever find a Sammy Baugh debut. Yet alone, I've got one ticket from the 1937 Redskins, and it was the week before their championship game. So, and those older 30 tickets, they're very hard to find. For those that didn't know, the Redskins started out in Boston in 1932 and moved when George Preston Marshall moved the team to DC in 1937. So they had drafted Sammy Baugh out of Texas Christian, and he came up and actually won the championship his rookie year. But trying to find any tickets from the 30s has been very, very difficult. And I've actually been at collecting Redskin game tickets since before Winfield.
Wow. Wow, that's hardcore. Very hardcore. I see we got Sean Doherty in the house. I see we got the Ham Fam collection in the house. Taylor Hamilton, Stubs for Life. We always appreciate people watching live. You have a very cool ticket, Mark, that I think most die-hard ticket collectors would want to get their hands on because there are so very few of them from one of the great quarterbacks who's now maybe the best player in the NFL playing out there in Kansas City. So let's see it. Let's see that. Let's see that Patrick Mahomes debut.
Well, first of all, let me give you a little background with the Mahomes debuts. One of the reasons why they're very difficult to find is the Broncos stopped printing season tickets, I believe, after the 15 season. So they were one of the early teams that came out with those cards. They did box office tickets, and there were actually two styles of tickets available for Mahomes' debut. The Ticketmaster ticket, which is the white version, seen a handful of those, and then the orange box office version, which I found out the other day that there are two in the Pop Report now. The other one is a PSA 6 and it's autographed. So, but here's mine. Hopefully you can see
Wow.
that fairly
Yeah, I
well.
can
So sorry
see.
for any glare, but I always laugh when people say, "Man, that looks great," and it does look great. It's a three, but the reason for the three is it actually has a fairly good sized crease in it from whoever it got issued to had the crease. But I was fortunate enough to pick this up back in May of 2018. One of our members, Chris Bellm, who is Hockey Realm on eBay. Chris and I have known each other through eBay and then Boogers for a number of years, and he put me in touch with a person who had already graded this ticket, and I was speculating on rookies, and Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes were the two football guys that I decided to pursue that year. So um, things worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you did pretty well. You did real well actually. So yeah, that's great. I think at one point I saw that ticket for sale by Mark Prilik. If I remember correctly, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, with some crazy high bounty. Am I remembering this correctly or not?
No, I have had offers for
Okay.
a significant amount of money, and um, back in the past, I had attempted to do a sale with somebody. It fell through, and it's probably a good thing that it did. So
Yeah.
I'm planning on holding on to it. He's won three Super Bowls. This year, Kansas City, they have been very, very lucky, and Patrick Mahomes has definitely um, would probably say, hey, it doesn't matter if it's luck or not, we won the
Yeah.
game. So nobody can really argue that. They've had a lot of close games, but
Yeah.
the good news is they found a way to win in the end. And, another guy that's quarterback, and you don't see too many of these tickets either, who's playing in Baltimore. I just wanted to show that ticket. This is the Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen debut. Very few on the Pop Report for this as well. A little story behind this is I bought two of them from the same seller on eBay the day of the game. So picked them up for good price. I had actually bought tickets from that person before for Redskins in Baltimore. Person was really easy to deal with. It was real rainy that day, so a lot of tickets that people had from the box office got wet because it was a pouring down rain. Well, I got offered a suite ticket for that debut, and he wanted $500 for it. And at the time, I thought, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do it. So I kicked myself for not doing it. But yes, there are suite tickets out there. Just because it's not in the Pop Report doesn't mean they don't exist. And so I wanted to mention that because there are a lot of people that are diehard PSA guys like Dory Boyer. Um, we all know Dory up in Canada. He would prefer not to use PSA, but
Yeah,
so I
I
had to get a
know.
little joke in there.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of tickets that are sitting on people's desks in collections and boxes in the basement or grandma's attic that they're still around. We all remember when Jordan's debut came out, suddenly we started seeing others appear,
Sure.
genuine ones. Of course, we saw lots of fakes. So I think when people hear that particular ticket made national news, so there were folks that were like, "Hey, I've been a Bulls season ticket holder for eons." So they went and looked and they found them.
Yeah.
But with the digitalization of a lot of these tickets now, some of these things are just very, very difficult to get a hold of. But just because you haven't seen the ticket doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That's why when people say on Boogers, hey, it doesn't exist, a lot of times I'll personal message some folks with a photo of one of the tickets, because there's very few teams that truly do not print. Um, but don't always rely on the pop report to think that those are the only two that
Sure.
exist. Those are the only two that are in a pop report.
Yeah.
But with the Mahomes ticket, I am sure there are others out there. There are people that have season tickets with the Broncos, and they just probably got them sitting in a box. They're not in Boogers, and in fact, the ticket that is autographed is a person that's not in Boogers.
Well, anyone out there who's a season ticket holder that's listening that potentially has a Broncos ticket from that year, the Broncos Chiefs, send it my way. Prilik's already got one, but that's pretty amazing, Mark, to show a Mahomes debut and then the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen actual ticket. I don't think I've ever seen one. Maybe Mark Townsend. I think I saw he had one of those tickets at some point. And I know the weather issue. I don't think I've ever seen a Mahomes other than yours. You told me that you've seen 6 of them, so you've seen 5 more than I have. But
And there are a couple of the Ticketmaster versions that are there.
okay.
There's folks in the group. There is one person in the group that has a couple of them. I've tried encouraging him to get them sent into PSA, just because I personally believe that authenticated and graded will drive
Oh yeah,
a price higher than the raw
I
version. And
agree
again, I know a lot of people have varying opinions, but the record stands for itself. And Howard, you've bought tickets for a long time, and you can see when we go to the National, if you see a raw version and you see a graded one, it's 99% of the time it's the graded one that's going to get the higher demand.
for sure. Couldn't agree with you more, Mark. Very, very true. Very true. So let's talk about Boogers. It was kind of funny. I didn't know too much about Boogers. I was in the ticket collecting game. And then I was listening to Talking Tickets. This was in the early days of Talking Tickets. Mike Violi was solo. This was before it was called Talking Tickets, and they had the fancy song, and it was before Sean had gotten on, and before there was a really big following. And they're just so good. I love watching these guys, and they've become friends of mine. Um, and yeah, I heard about this thing, Boogers Ticket Stubs, this Facebook group. And I'm like, wait a second, there's a Facebook group that specializes in tickets and I don't know about it. And boy, oh boy, man, I jumped on that. And when I did, it's just been phenomenal. Not just for a source of buying tickets or even, trading tickets, selling tickets, but just also good information from people like yourself and some of the other collectors that have been doing it a lot longer than a kind of quasi newbie like me that can give us good information. So tell us a little bit about Boogers. You're kind of one of the lead moderators on Boogers. Why the name Boogers? Who invented it? When was it invented? And give us some background. Give us the insight, Mark. Everyone's dying for the insight.
Well, absolutely. Well, first of all, I do want to correct you a little bit. I'm the chief instigator, not the chief moderator. There are 5 of us. Patrick Powell is the founder, and he is the admin. And then, of course, there are 4 moderators: myself, Guy Mitchell, Michael Horn, and you all know Matt Fuller. So together, we try to keep the group running honest. Because I'm the only one that's quasi retired. Retired from the military right now, not currently working. I'll go back and teach in the spring. But Patrick's father, who passed away, was in the Air Force. His call sign was Booger after the character from Revenge of the Nerds. So when Patrick formed the group, that's why it's called Boogers. People have been like, "Well, that's a silly name. We need to change it." Well, I'm sorry, guys. Never gonna happen. Okay, it's Boogers. We whether you like it or not, we love it. It's got a lot of character in history, but that's where it came about 2017. I actually came in when there were I think there were about 800 or 900 members in the group when I joined in, I think the 1st of January 2018. And not too long after that, Patrick reached out to a few of us, the current mod team, to ask if we would be willing to help as the group had been growing more and more with membership. It was difficult for Patrick to do it on his own, and he's been very supportive, but yet has kind of let the other moderators run things.
Mark, how many, you said when you started it was 900 members. How many members do we all have on
Uh,
Boogers now?
a little over 5,500.
Wow.
So, and that's the numbers sometimes are a little skewed because we get people that come in and then they leave and then they come back, and um, we have some members that they're simply only coming in so they can sell a couple of tickets and leave, and then there's many others that are curious. Remember, we are supporting every domain of tickets, whether it's sports. We see a lot of World Cup soccer. We see Olympic tickets, the um, different political tickets, racing tickets, MMA. Movie tickets, Japanese tickets. So I've learned a lot about all the different genres, but that's the nice thing. If it's
Sure.
a ticket that gave you entry or commemorating an event that the teams released a commemorative for, because those are becoming more popular. Um, there they are. And
Yeah.
people have said, well, tickets are going. Well, it's kind of like tobacco cards. People still collect them and they haven't made them for over 100 years.
Agreed. 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 So I know your role a lot of times, Mark, is kind of making sure that the Boogers Facebook page runs smoothly. And I've said it before, and I know that there are a lot of other members who say it. We're involved in a lot of groups on varying different social media platforms. But I think kind of uniformly, we all believe that Boogers is run the best. I don't know if it's just because you and Matt and Mike and Guy and the mods just do such a good job, but it's almost like there's not really a whole lot of shenanigans that you all tolerate. And you're kind of like, I think the one that posts those message and kind of keeps everything in order along with everybody else. So when are you kind of stepping in as a moderator on the Boogers Facebook page? What are some of those situations?
Well, the big thing that I do is I review all of the new memberships. All the moderators have the ability to approve or decline. I do a little bit more because I've got more time on my hands and I've done that. But so that's one of the big things I do is approval, but also just making sure that the posts are appropriate. The biggest one that everyone has seen, and a number of people have griped about, is not indicating not for sale or not for trade. And little background for that is we've had people that post these really nice tickets. They don't post a price, and what we found is it's a phishing scheme. They dangle the carrot and then they get the person to go offline and deal with that. We've had a couple of members that have been taken for a lot of money. So collectively, the mods decided that, hey, if you're going to show a ticket, we love seeing them. We just want somebody either at the beginning of the post or at the end of the post to say not for sale, not for trade. And that's even if you're just posting, say, obviously, if you say, hey, I'm looking for this ticket and you show a picture, then we know that it's not for sale because you're looking for it. But otherwise, we really got to get folks to indicate that it's not for sale, not for trade, because we want to maintain the integrity of the group.
Yeah. And how often are you mediating issues regarding that where, someone will potentially post something and it's a phishing scheme, and ultimately, there's a problem where either someone gets taken for money or there's an issue regarding the transaction.
It happens as far as uh, deleting
Keep talking,
posts.
Mark. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
as
Keep
far
talking.
as deleting posts that people put up without not for sale, not for trade, we do that on a daily basis, multiple times a day. A lot of times, if I'm on Facebook and I see that the person just posted it a couple of minutes ago, I'll just send them a quick message that says, "Hey, can you please edit your post and say not for sale, not for trade?" And if they're online and they see it, they do it, no big deal. But if they're not, then it gets deleted. Everyone, you're always sent a comment. You can review those comments just like you review every other comments. You just have to refresh it.
Yeah.
But you'll read the comment that's left from the moderator, and usually it says, per group rules, please
Yeah.
indicate not for sale
I, I,
or
I
post a
think you
price.
also, when we were talking beforehand, you were saying that there are times where you've had a couple of members who had tickets on eBay that they were caught shilling tickets on eBay, and therefore, as a result of that, they've lost their privilege to be a member on Boogers.
It's unfortunately it's happened. Integrity first is a core value. All of my Air Force um, retirees or folks that served in the Air Force, you'll understand that core value. Well, it runs true with all the mods. We want this to be a safe place. We want it to be run smoothly where people know that, hey, this is a good group where we don't have a bunch of scammers in there.
Yeah.
But so if you're on eBay and then we're not policing eBay, but when it impacts group membership, um, then we're gonna take action and get those. Yeah, same thing with you put on somebody's post you mark sold, and then you have buyer's remorse. Well, our rules are pretty clear. If you mark sold, unless somebody beat you to it, um, we expect that you and the seller complete the sale, unless the two of you decide, hey, you know what, we'll work something else out. But if you get the mods involved, we want to make sure that we're following the rules. And
Yeah.
um, we've removed some people in the group, and I've had members come back and say, hey, why can't this person be in the group? And we've explained, well, this is what happened.
Yeah.
We're not going to air everybody's dirty laundry, because there's really no need to do that. But yeah, if you're removed from the group, 99+% of the time, you're not coming back.
One of the things that you and I talked about, and it was kind of amazing. I was in awe about this story, so I want to have you share this with the people that are watching now and who'll watch this later. But talk to me about the season ticket, or I should say, I guess, the box office season ticket manager for the Kansas City Royals being a member of Boogers and potentially intervening in some sales.
Okay, well, unfortunately, and I've reached out and talked to people about this. Um, we've gone from allowing people to sell tickets to future games to we really don't want to deal with it because in this particular situation, a member had posted a stack of Kansas City Royals tickets for Bobby Witt's debut, and no maliciousness involved there, but unfortunately, another member of the group contacted the Kansas City Royals and said, "Hey, these guys are selling live ticket events and they're making a killing." A lot of people other than Jeremy could care less about Kansas City. Sorry, Jeremy, had to get that one in. But uh, Bobby Witt Jr., big draw with the Royals, and the manager for the Kansas City Royals joined the group. I asked her what her intent was, and then very shortly after that, she got the boot, and then Kansas City stopped selling box office tickets. They used to be real easy to get tickets. You go to the box office. I had a number of people in the group that I'd reach out to and say, "Hey, I'll give you an extra X number of dollars. Just you're going to the stadium. Hey, I'll make it worth your while. Pick me up a couple. So that's the reason why we don't want people showing these stacks of tickets. And then the other problem is if we have an announced debut and you offer 100 tickets for sale and then the person doesn't debut because they changed their mind or the game got rained out, whatever. We don't want buyers then getting upset at the seller because they had no control over that. So we've just decided, look, you can sell them after the game.
Understood. Understood. I think you also told me that there's a few other teams where their box office managers are members of Boogers. Is that true?
They will remain anonymous, but there are other members in our group that are affiliated with various teams throughout the four major leagues.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and
See, they're
yeah,
watching us. They're watching us. Maybe they're the drone people. I don't know. Maybe they're watching us. Pretty crazy that major league teams and these box office managers are policing what's being sold on a Facebook page related to tickets. But
yeah, and I think they don't realize that the intent is to sell the paper portion, the ephemera from the event, and not to gouge the team. I mean, most of the tickets are indeed sold after the event.
yeah,
Um, and the ones that are in our group, they know that. They understand
yeah.
that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But again, I will tell you, I think the mods do a phenomenal job, and I think our Boogers Facebook page is just terrific. So I'm happy to be a member. I'm on it all day long, just fishing and watching and looking. And some days at work I get to be on it a lot longer than other days when I'm busy. And some of those days when I'm not on it because I'm busy, I'm jonesing for it. But really appreciate it, Mark, that you guys do such a great job and that you run a tight ship. When I first got onto the site, I'm like, boy, these guys are like, tough. But now I'm happy that you guys are tough, and it's a very respectful place. And kudos to you and kudos to all the other moderators. You do a very nice job. So thank you from the ticket
yeah,
community.
appreciate that. Hey, I know we're getting pressed for time, but I did want to take the opportunity to just show a couple
Yeah,
of
please.
some famous Winfield tickets. So I'll go through them
Yeah,
rather quick.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I've got tickets all the way back to University of Minnesota. One that I have in particular is an event that occurred during the brawl between Ohio State and Minnesota. And let's
That's a
see,
great
where's the?
ticket.
It's a
Yeah,
stub, but I don't have his debut or his first home run, but I have his second game, and which is also his first RBI. That was a 99-cent special on
woo,
eBay. It was
we'll
actually
take
listed
those.
as a 73 Padres ticket. So
Yeah,
some of you Ozzie fans out there will recognize the Ozzie Smith debut. Also a Winfield home run. So I do collect other Winfield tickets, not just home runs. So one of the additions that I got from one of our members, I begged them for years, was the fight ticket between Nolan Ryan and Dave Winfield. We don't have time to go into the story, but signed by both of them. I had never seen a stub, yet alone a full. But that's my one of my Winfield Grill tickets.
and Mark,
Many
just
people.
before you move on, Tom Daly asked for it seconds before you put it up, so he's reading your mind. Tom Daly is, but
Yes.
what an amazing ticket!
So
That's a great ticket. I love it too, Tom. That's the best ticket I've seen all night, and I saw you show some pretty darn good ones, Mark. But that's an awesome one.
many of you will remember that Randy Johnson threw a pitch that obliterated a seagull. But before Randy Johnson, there was Dave Winfield, who hit a seagull during warm-ups up in Toronto. Actually got arrested for it, but and again, a story for a later time. But that's the infamous seagull game. Um, let's see. The next one here that I have is New York. They loved Winfield, but a guy during his tenure they loved a lot more. Donnie, baseball, Bill Shelton. from Evansville. He'll tell you all day that Donnie is one of his favorite Yankees. Not a Yankee fan. He's a big Cubs fan. Uh, he's Cardinals fan. But
Yeah.
anyway, there's the Mattingly debut. Mattingly came in as a defensive replacement, but of course, it's a Winfield home run. So, um,
That's a great one, Mark. That's awesome. A full Mattingly debut and a Winfield home run too, but pretty awesome that it's a Mattingly debut and
so
it's a full.
you'll see the trend that I have here with these tickets. They're all historical events. So another one that happened back in 1983, this guy George Brett from Kansas City hit a home run that was disallowed because of pine tar. So the pine tar game, here's a nice full from the pine tar game,
Great.
was of course a Winfield home run. So hence in my collection, and then. We'll fast forward a couple of years to 1990. This kid up in Seattle um, joined the major leagues, and his dad with the same name um, was on the team as well, and they hit back-to-back home runs. So yes, that was the Griffey father-son back-to-back home run game, only done once in Major League Baseball history. And yes, Winfield hit two home runs in that game.
Wow.
So here is a full ticket, and you
Wow.
can see that that's graded an 8. So actually got that ticket from Lenny a number of years ago before the father-son home run became as big as it is. But those are the big ones.
Those are some
There's
great ones. Yeah, even
there's lots of other debuts and events, but those are the big ones that I decided to
when 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 you
bring.
get a wow from I collect tickets, that's a real wow. And let me tell you, Mark, those were some awesome, awesome tickets. I mean, I know they're meaningful to you in a little bit of a different way, but incredibly meaningful to all of us. Those were special. That's great stuff. We have a thing on this show. We run the gauntlet. So we want to run the gauntlet with you, Mark. Kind of like quick fire questions and answers. So we always kind of start out with this one: stub or full?
Uh,
Tell me.
I when it comes to Winfield, I'll take what I can get.
Lost you, or we lost some.
I will never turn down a debut or first home run in a stub or any of the other 24 that I named.
I
I can
got you.
always upgrade later, but both are equally deserving of the history behind the event.
So do you like your tickets in PSA slabs, Beckett slabs, or no slab at all?
I have personally most of those tickets that I showed, I submitted myself. Outside of Winfield, I have a lot of PSA tickets. I've got an order up there now. To each their own. I've done it as an investment because I do know that the return on my investment with authentication and all is going to be more than the raw. And again, that's debatable. You if you asked everybody in the group, you're probably going to get a 60-40 split there. But I like the appearance. It was easy for me to show those
Yeah.
tickets with you guys. They're heavy, so I won't be carrying them around anytime soon. Most of my tickets are in top loaders. I've got a closet full because I collect a lot of home run guys, but
Yeah.
primarily Winfield and then my Redskin tickets.
Do you like debut tickets or moment tickets better?
Well, I've got Mattingly's debut, but the only reason why I have Mattingly's debut is it was a Winfield home run.
Yeah. It's,
So a lot of those moments I have that happen to coincide with someone that I collect, and it's been great. But I collect a lot of debuts, like a lot of the other guys, but I'm not chasing them. You'll see some of these guys that are debuting this past year, $500 to $1,000 for their ticket.
yeah.
So I can still pick. most of the time when I pick Winfield home run tickets up, I'm getting them for, excuse me, for um,
That's
$15, $20.
that's
Luck of the
great.
draw.
Yeah.
Some of them I spent a lot more. I think as far as the most money I've ever paid for a ticket, it was that Mattingly debut. Um, so even more than the Sonny Jurgensen, Jim Brown debut.
Wow.
So, and I won't tell you what I paid for the Mahomes ticket, but I guarantee you, I got mine cheaper um, than most people.
I'm, I'm
So,
sure. I'm
um,
sure you did. I'm
when I
sure you
go
did. So,
to sell it, that will not be part of the equation.
which is a better ticket, Mark? We have a little fun. Which is a better ticket? The Randy Johnson pitch that killed the bird, or a ticket from the one you showed, the Dave Winfield kills the seagull?
Oh, this Eagle game. Absolutely. It had nothing to do with a Winfield home run, but the publicity, you have to go back to 1983. Winfield had only been with the Yankees for 2 years, but I mean, it happened up north, a lot of tension between Toronto and New York. They were constantly at each other, big rivalry in the 80s. So, with a lot of Yankee teams that didn't do well. Remember, Mattingly didn't make it to the playoffs until
Yeah,
1995.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I think they're both pretty cool, but I think the audience figured you'd go the Winfield Seagull. So, are they called the Washington Redskins in your mind, or are they now the Washington
you know,
Commanders? Do you?
I am slowly adopting the new name. I am conforming to the current plan. To me, they're always the Redskins. Now, I do collect Washington Redskins tickets. They're they um, went through 2019. Commanders tickets are just very difficult to get. I did manage to pick up a couple of the Darryl Green retirement jersey tickets. They're at PSA right now. But to me, they're still the Redskins. I still have lots of Redskin wear. I have a lot of Commanders wear. But I'm slowly calling them the Commanders a lot more frequently than I am the Redskins.
They'll
So,
always be the Redskins to me, but I understand. So, better Dave Winfield as a Padre, or better Dave Winfield as a Yankee?
Dave Winfield as a Yankee. I mean, he had to start with the Padres. Remember, the Padres had threatened to move to Washington in the 72-73 timeframe. Ray Kroc bought the team, and I believe in 1974. So he didn't actually draft Dave Winfield, but Winfield was drafted fourth overall in the 73 draft. Went straight to the Padres a week after finishing up as a pitcher in the College World Series.
Yeah,
And Robin Yount was selected number 3. So those two guys, Hall of Fame. But Winfield had some good productive years with the Padres, but when he went to the Yankees, I mean, he was an RBI machine.
yeah,
And the one year in '84 when Mattingly and Winfield teammates, Mattingly ended up going 4 for 5 in the last game, and Winfield, well, he didn't. It was a 3 point separation in the batting title, 343 to 340. And so I think with the Yankees, they went to the World Series the first year that Winfield was there. They went up 2 games to none, and then uh, Justin's Dodgers just obliterated them. They won 4 straight. So um, um, but I
Yankee.
think the Yankee years were definitely a lot more productive. And being in the market that he was, big market in New York, that's where he had a lot. But it's surprising, he's in the Hall of Fame, fantastic athlete. But how many Winfield fans do you see out there? I think there were 2 people at the National that I saw wearing Winfield Padre jerseys, and mine
Yeah,
was one of them.
I only saw one that was yours, but you know, I expected that. So, who's the best moderator on Boogers? You, uh, Mitchell, Fuller, or Horn? Who's the best?
Well, we all have
No, you
our
can't be
traits.
diplomatic, Mark. Can't be
Again,
diplomatic. Who's the best?
I'm the chief instigator. So I would say from perspective of, putting the foot down, I think I'm a little bit more involved in that way, but we all talk to each other. If there's any situation that comes up that's, sticky, we all run it by each other. And that's the nice thing. We don't always agree with each other. We've had times where, Guy will say, hey, I think we should do this. And I'm like, yeah, you bring up a good point. So there are good discussions. And, if there's ever any issue that comes up, we're all human. We realize that I'm not right all the time. But we do work together.
Which
So,
which which mod has the best ticket collection?
you know, I don't know, but Michael Horn has definitely sold me some nice tickets. And one of the tickets I didn't bring up tonight, I have a proof from the 1951 um, uh, Bobby Thompson home run. The reason why I have that ticket, come on, take a guess.
I don't know.
October 3rd, 1951. That's the day Dave Winfield was born. So I have the Winfield birthday ticket. So, and
Well,
I got that from Michael Horn. So, I've never seen Michael's collection. I've seen a few of the tickets that
yeah,
he has, and it's incredible. Matt Fuller has a great Chicago Cubs collection. Um, I think Guy has a little bit of
yeah,
everything, so which is wonderful. Patrick has sold me a lot of his tickets as well, so he's not as active in ticket collecting as he was. But we're all very passionate about collecting tickets. I I I collect so many things I could talk about them for an hour,
yeah,
but I season ticket books.
yeah,
I've got a lot of those. I've got season ticket sheets. I used to pick them up anytime I could. Nowadays they're far and few apart, but I
yeah.
still search for them.
Well, I think everyone would agree. Mike Horn's got an amazing ticket collection. I think he's got probably one of the best I've ever seen. I know Guy's a great seller on Boogers. Got a wide variety, and Matt, we know he loves his Cubs. Mark, it was tremendous to have you on, getting some insight into the Boogers Facebook page, which we all really appreciate the job that you do. I think that without Boogers, ticket collecting would be a heck of a lot more challenging. I think just the role that you and the other mods play to kind of keep it clean is just terrific. So kudos to all of you. I appreciate you being on the show. I guess I'll see you out there in July in Chicago. At least I'm going to hope to see you out there for the National. And that is episode 43 of Stub Luv Live. Thanks so much, Mark, for being on. Be
Thank you,
well.
sir. Thanks,
Talk to you
everyone.
soon.
Have a
All
good
right,
night.
bye-bye. Yeah, you too.